Welcome to the Abundance Journey, where we flip the script on struggle. We turn stress into success. I'm here to help you partner with the divine and unlock practical strategies and spiritual alignment to create the abundant life your soul designed you to live. So let's open the gift of abundance right now. Did you know that according to research done in 2022 by Capital One Business, 63% of business owners, that's two-thirds of business owners have dealt with burnout. And many of them admit that it's threatening their income and their health. Honestly, burnout is a really serious epidemic that has an extremely high cost. Well, welcome to the Abundance Journey Show. I'm your host, Elaine Starling, the Abundance Ambassador, and every week we explore how to align with the flow of abundance in your life, in your work, and in your relationships. If you're a purpose-driven entrepreneur who's been pushing through exhaustion, today's conversation could change everything for you, because my guest, Monica Jean, oh my gosh, she goes by MJ, awesome lady, Monica Jean Mitchell. She's a holistic life and business coach with over 30 years of experience as a business owner. And she's on a mission to help women entrepreneurs recover from burnout and build sustainable success without sacrificing their well-being. Through her From Hustle to Harmony coaching program, MJ blends mindset mastery, holistic wellness, and practical strategy to help her clients reclaim their energy, reset their routines, and lead with clarity and confidence. So if you've been feeling stretched a little too thin, if you've been struggling to balance your business with your life, or wondering how to make success feel good again, well, this episode hits your turning point. Everything's going to change because we're talking about burnout prevention, sustainable success, and mindset shifts that can help you build a business that fuels you instead of drains you. MJ, I am so thrilled to have you join me for the Abundance Journey. Welcome.
Thank you. I am thrilled to be here. Thank you so much.
Oh, we had so much fun chatting, but I finally had to start the record button because, we were going to get way off time if I didn't get going, because the energy that you radiate is so luscious, is the word that comes to mind. There's a rich depth and sweetness to it. And I'm so glad that you could be here to support us in this way, because I think at times every single one of us kind of hits the wall. And it doesn't matter if you have a business or you don't, at some point or another, life is going to feel like just a little too much. Now, before we really dive in, because I got some important questions for you, I want to make sure that we take a moment to connect our energy, yours, mine, with all of the listeners and viewers, and the God of your understanding, what I call the divine. And there's two things that we're going to do to make that happen. The first thing is we're going to take 3 long, slow, deep breaths together. And as we breathe in through the nose, think the words, I am. And as you breathe out through the mouth, think the word consciousness. And I'll remind you when we get to that part. Now, after we breathe together 3 times, I'm going to share an intention. I always point at my heart when I say intention. It's very much like typing into a spiritual GPS. This is where we want to go and how we choose to feel about it. Thanks so much. See you on the other side, right? And it allows us to set the stage and be really clear on where we're going through this conversation. So we don't have a script. We have some different things we want to talk about, but we're going to let the conversation go where it needs to go so that it fulfills that intention. And in order to make sure the divine latches in to that intention, after I share it, we're going to hold that intention in silence for 78 seconds, which feels like an eternity. I freely admit I struggle with that too. I think if you're a human being, you do. And there are 2 different things I do that helps me hold that space. The first thing is I'll take 2 or 3 words out of the intention that just feel expansive and uplifting. It's that high vibration that I'm choosing to make my new normal. And I'll repeat those 2 or 3 words over and over again to myself in my mind during the 78 seconds. And then the next thing I do is I notice what's happening in my body. Because sometimes I'll get goosebumps or a rush of heat or discomfort will move from one area of my body to another, or an image will suddenly drop in. Anything like that is just a sign that the divine has locked into that higher vibration and they're ready to play. So, are you ready to play?
Ready.
Awesome. Let's go ahead and start with 3 deep breaths. Breathe in, I am. Breathe out, consciousness. Breathe in, I am. Breathe out, consciousness. Breathe in, I am. Breathe out, consciousness. In love and light, we are so happy and grateful that we honor the sacred rhythm of our energy, releasing the pressure to push beyond our limits and trusting that balance creates space for clarity, creativity, and sustainable success. We know that caring for ourselves is the highest act of love because it fuels our ability to serve and shine for others. Thank you, Divine. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It is done. We give thanks, and so it is. Wow, that was really cool. What came through for you?
Interesting because I'm always actually I'm usually at a stand-up desk and I'm usually rocking back and forth or moving. I'm very jittery and very motion oriented. And I just felt, and I'm traveling right now and I'm in a hotel room and I'm sitting and it's all very weird and awkward and uncomfortable. But I felt calm and peace and still, which I don't usually feel. And so it was just very refreshing. And I loved that. And I also caught on to the phrase serve and shine, because I think a lot of times we're so busy serving, we forget to shine. And there were so many thoughts and feelings around that phrase that I just really am going to carry with me. So I'm very excited about that.
That's wonderful. I latched into caring for ourselves as the highest act of love. And while we were holding that 78 seconds, I saw angels holding each one of us like we were a little baby. And just there's so much love all around us, pouring through us all the time. And we always think that that means I have to give, I have to give, I have to give. I come at the back of the bus, right? I'm the last person in line. In reality, we get to choose us first. And when we don't choose us first, that's when the challenges start to show up. Now, MJ, you've had a lot of experience with this, 30 years. Tell us a bit about the background. What got you started doing this, and why are you so passionate about helping people avoid and recover from burnout?
Well, as you can imagine, over 30 years, I have had my fair share of burnout. I am a serial entrepreneur. I started in the fitness and wellness industry, and then I've done health coaching, life and business coaching. I owned a professional organizing business. I've done productivity consulting. And no matter what business I had, or what industry I was in, or what service I was providing, I noticed the common thread that my clients experienced was burnout. Whether it was fitness, whether it was productivity, whether it was life coaching, it kept coming up. The overwhelm and the feeling of loss of control. It just comes up in so many different ways with so many different people. And I realized it wasn't just my clients; it was my colleagues and myself. And so I had kind of just been carrying that around with me. And what do I do with that information? And the more I think about it, I think women entrepreneurs, women business owners, we start our service-based businesses, or whatever our business is, because we have a passion or a gift that we want to share with people. But unfortunately, we're never taught how to run a business, how to lead a team, and definitely not in a sustainable way, even if we have the basics. So we end up just figuring things out on the fly. We hold everything together with Band-Aids and duct tape until we run into a wall, and then boom, the wheels fall off. So as I've been carrying around those experiences and those thoughts, and that just that why does this keep coming up? I decided to transition my business to focus on that. And my personal passion has always been to share my gifts and my experiences. And at this point, I have a background in wellness, in mindset, and in business strategy. And I have found that that is a really good crossover to help other women create healthier and happier lives and more sustainable businesses, so that they can do what they love without sacrificing their well-being, because I have been there and done that even when I was in the wellness industry. But that's what led me to create this new program, From Hustle to Harmony, and to transition into really focusing on burnout, because no matter what I was doing, it kept coming up anyway. So I decided to just tackle that head first, and here we are.
I'm so glad that you're making this a key focus in helping people, because it really is an epidemic. It really is a massive problem. And especially in our current climate, where we feel like productivity is all that matters. How much are you getting done? And it's almost a badge of honor that you're working ridiculous hours every week. And God forbid you should take vacation. It's just kind of amazing that that is the benchmark that we claim is what success looks like. But that doesn't have to be what success looks like. It can be an entirely different experience. And that kind of leads into my next question. I ask all of my guests the same question. I've never had the same answer twice, which I love, because to me, abundance can be defined in many, many different ways. Given the kind of the work that you're doing, especially helping people recover from burnout and stave off burnout, prevent burnout in the future, how do you define abundance?
I love this question. I get so excited when I listen and I hear what everybody's responses are, because it is different. It's fascinating. But to me, abundance is when you have a life and a business that you're passionate about, and that bring you joy and peace and adventure. And yes, money, that's important, blah, 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 whatever. But we all want to make money. But to me, it's the freedom, it's the relationships, it's the peace, and having the health to enjoy it all. Because you can have all of those different things, but if you're neglecting your body and you're sick, or you're tired, or your body isn't working at 100%, or if you're not, if your nutrition isn't sustainable, if you're not hydrated, then you can't even enjoy those things. So I think that's a really important part of it also. It's not just about business strategy. It's not just about, having a life full of people. It's really got to include your wellness as a part of that.
Absolutely. And you bring up something that I'm reminded of, a message that I received from the divine. This was a little bit after my stroke, and I received the divine download that there are 3 things the divine wants us to do. The first thing is be love in every moment. Be love for yourself and be love for others. No matter what's going on, be love. And then the second thing is notice the love that's already present. And it's not obvious. It's a lot closer to a scavenger hunt. We're not going to make it easy for you. You have to take a different vantage point, a different perspective, ask different questions until you see how this is inspiring you to learn and grow. And it's really enriching your life because it's not what you expected. And then the third thing is get together with other people, because every time you do, you create more and more opportunities for love. Now, more recently, I received a different download that said, everything is love, everything is guiding you to love, and every interaction is a request for love. So when you're talking with somebody and they're having a really tough day and they're yelling at you because the program didn't work the way they wanted to or whatever it is, just know that they need your compassion, your reassurance, your commitment to supporting them in seeing the growth and the evolution that they're actually experiencing. They are requesting love from you. Now, obviously, it's really good when you can give yourself love first, because until you love yourself, you aren't full enough of love to share it with others. So I think what you're saying here about what abundance really is, that balance of having a business that you love, that's thriving and challenging and helps you grow and contribute, and time for your life, time for family, friends, hobbies, vacations, really, truly having it all is, it's not wrong to want it all, because really, truly you can have it all.
I got the chills when you said the 3 things, and especially the last one where they're asking for love. It's such a great reframe, and I want to take that. I'm going to put that in my pocket and carry it with me, and I'm gone.
Please do, because the mandate that I received after my stroke was I had to share all of this with everyone and just let them know what's really going on behind the scenes, because we aren't given the rules of the game when we're born, right? We have no clue how this stuff works. So I want to move on, because different people are at different stages and they don't know what they don't know. You've been at this for 30 years. You've seen a gazillion people who are struggling with burnout. What are some of the symptoms and signs that people need to kind of look out for that show that it's time to take some action, be proactive?
Yeah. It's interesting to me because when my clients come to me, they have very successful businesses. They look amazing on the outside. And, you look at them and you think, you've got it all together. You've got all the things and you're doing great. And at the same time, they are overworked. They are overwhelmed. They are feeling out of control, and they are on the edge of a crash and burn so often. They are struggling with boundaries. They're feeling guilty when they take time for themselves. They start to resent their clients. They terrorize their teams, their family, and their friends, and their health. And I was going to say relationships. I think that's covered by family and friends, but their health, their relationships, they usually are suffering in one way or another, even though everything on the outside looks so amazing. It's kind of like the duck going across the water and the little feet going underneath. So that's always been really fascinating to me. But their general feeling that they come to me with is they say, I just feel out of control. I feel like my business is running me instead of me running my business. And they're spending most of their time just putting out fires. They feel like they don't have the time or the capacity to step away to get that clarity that they need, to have the calm that they need to create the strategy to move forward. They're just paddle and just trying to stay above the water. So that's really unfortunate. But what also happens around the same time, and how you can really tell when it's coming, is when it starts to get so overwhelming that you start to retreat. So not only like you start out resenting everything and then you start retreating, pulling back away. I know for me, it showed up, and for several of my clients as well, it showed up as maybe I should just go get a big girl job. Maybe I should just go work for somebody else. This is too hard. It's not worth it. And I knew that would be stepping away from my passion and my gifts, but I just didn't want to deal with it. It was just too much. And then what happens if you don't listen to that is that you start to retreat and shut down. And sometimes you even get physically ill because your body is saying, hey, buddy, if you're not going to rest and slow down and take a step back and recover, I'm going to make you do it. And as small business owners, as women who want to serve, as people who are excited about what we do and we want to share it, the hardest thing to do is to take that step back and to rest and recover. But it's the thing sometimes we need the most.
Yeah, it is so true. I want to share something with you that I found really, really fascinating. I read a book called The Survivor's Guide. And in the book, they talk about a guy who teaches special forces. He's in the UK, but he teaches special forces people how to survive in life or death situations. And trust me, if you have a business and you're running a business, you encounter a lot of life or death situations, right? It's like, oh my gosh, this stuff's hitting the fan again, right? And so he discovered something he calls the 10-80-10 rule. And I found it absolutely fascinating. So what he learned is that when things get really challenging, 10% of people are natural leaders. They just immediately go into that centered, calm space. They quickly assess the situation. They know the talents of the team and what resources are available inside the team. They know external resources that they can tap into, or they know where to find them, right? And they quickly come up with a plan of action, delegate stuff out to people, and off we go. Let's solve the problem, make this happen. So 10% of people are natural leaders. 80% of people are followers. They're really sharp. They're really good. They know their stuff. They just don't have a plan. So all you need to do is recognize where your skills really lie, what your forte is, and that makes a big difference. Don't be afraid of being a follower. The third level, so it's 10% leaders, 80% followers. The final 10% of people are in such a state of panic and emotional overwhelm that they cannot function. They can't find a way out. And he used the example, you can put them in a lifeboat to save their life, and somehow they'll find a way to fall out and drown anyway. Doesn't matter what you do, they cannot function. And there were some big takeaways for me from the 10-80-10 rule. It turns out that 90% of people are really curious and interested in your best practices, in your solutions. Why? Because leaders and followers are looking for a leader. If you've got an idea, you're a leader. Leaders are looking for other leaders with great ideas because they're always looking for new information they can incorporate in to use for their people, because it makes a massive difference. Also, you are never a leader 100% of the time, ever. Get over it. You're a business owner? Fine. That doesn't mean that you lead everything. It means that you know how to delegate. And that's something that a lot of business owners struggle with. Make sure you've got some fabulous followers with you. Either they're employees who are on your team, or they're trusted consultants that you can collaborate with, or experts you can hire for a specific project to help you get things done. You don't have to have all the answers. That's one of the biggest mistakes entrepreneurs make. You do not have to have all the answers, and stop expecting yourself to have all the answers. Now, the other thing that's really important to remember, we all have different areas where we start to panic. We start to freak out. We think, oh my gosh, life is going to be over very soon. The 10-80-10 rule reminds you that you don't have to have all the answers. You can always be a follower. Why not reach out to other leaders and say, hey, I've got a challenge. Do you know somebody who's really good at this, that, and the other thing? And they're happy to help you. They'd love to be a resource. Why? Because you're a great resource for them too. So that's why having a network of supportive people around you makes a massive difference. I mean, I just wanted to share the 10-80-10 rule with you, MJ, because most people think they're all in it, all by themselves, all alone. And it's simply not the case. That might be a choice, but it's not the truth.
Asking for and accepting help is one of the biggest challenges that most of my clients have, and myself included. It's hard. We feel like we need to be strong and we need to get it done and we don't want to bother anybody. And I'll tell you, one of the best things that has stuck with me for years and years and years that a friend just told me in a conversation, she said, Monica, stop. It is okay for you to take up space. And for whatever reason, that was life changing for me. And I say it to myself, like, I find myself, I'll bump into something at the grocery store, like an aisle or a can of something. Oh, I'm sorry. I make myself small and I try to not bother people or things, apparently. But I find myself, when there's a big line behind you at the store and you're trying to hurry, and I'll say, you know what? It's okay to take up space. Just breathe. You are allowed to be here. You are allowed to ask your question and get it answered. You are allowed to ask for help and receive it. It is okay. That has come back to me more than just about any other piece of advice I've received personally or professionally. It just over and over, and it applies to so many different things. So I love that.
Yeah, and I want to share another little tip. I read a fabulous book called Hiring the Heavens. It's a very short little book, short size too, and it's really fun. And the author says there are gazillions of angels out there and they're bored to flipping tears. And they can totally help you, but only if you ask for their help. So whenever I get stuck or I'm running late to get somewhere important or whatever, if I'm working on something and I need some research and I don't know where to find it or I need a resource, I hire the heavens. I ask angels to help me. Please direct me to the perfect resources at the perfect time to get this project done. And they do. I love doing this with people who don't believe in this stuff because every time they use it, it really freaks them out because it works and it works really well and it's fun. If it's silly and playful, you're much more relaxed. And you're in a space where you can receive more. You have a better experience. You retain more information when you're relaxed and having fun. When you're all wired and upset and tight and you're shutting out all the things that could serve you. So yeah, I love what you're doing. And there's an important thing that I'd love to get your take on, Monica, because I've noticed every time I want something to shift in my external world, like I want my business to run more smoothly. It's not right now. Something has to shift inside me before that external transformation happens. What's your clients have to shift? Be willing to change so they can have that transformation.
It's funny because you've kind of touched on it twice already. In different parts of our conversation, I think one of the biggest things, because most of my clients are servers. We want to serve people and help people. The shift needs to be that you can't fill anyone else's cup if your pitcher is empty. You have to fill your pitcher first. Then you can fill up all the other cups. You can help your friends and your family and your neighbors' friends and family if your pitcher is full. But if your pitcher is empty, there is nothing there. You cannot help them. You are not doing any good to anybody. And we so often we just want to help and help and help and help, but we're not giving them our full energy, effort, mental, just like you said, when we're overwhelmed and overstimulated, we're not giving them their full attention. And so we've got to take that step back, do what we need to fill our pitcher. One of the things that makes me crazy about the wellness and the business industries is people say, well, you need self-care, take a bath, take a bubble bath, go get your nails done. It's not that. It's rest, it's recovery, it's doing something fun, doing something that makes you laugh. Listen to a comedy podcast. That can be self-care. It doesn't have to be, for me, it's taking a walk in the woods. For some people, it's, going for a swim. For some people, it's just sitting down reading a book. It doesn't have to be a girly, take a bath, get your nails done. So I think it's just a matter of recognizing what you need to do to charge your batteries so that then you can give the other people and the other things your full power.
I love that. I love that. And I don't know why I'm compelled to share this, but I am. I learned this from my mentor, Deborah Poneman, and this is a technique that they use in the country of India to really stimulate both sides of the brain and wake your body up. It gives you wholeness in thinking. And so you're much more open and aware. So whenever you're stressing out, it's a great way to de-stress, get the circulation, get the blood flowing, and help you regain that centered calm. What you do, take your left hand, always remember left before right, because L comes first in the alphabet before R. So you take the left hand and grab your right earlobe, and take your right hand and grab your left earlobe. And then you do 15 squats, and you breathe in on the down and exhale. You'll in through the nose on the down, exhale through the mouth on the up. And 3 sets of 15 squats, holding your earlobes. And I know it seems a little strange, but it activates more of your brain. It gets your blood pumping. It gets your blood circulating throughout your body. The deep breaths are really good for body calming and getting the autonomic nervous system to relax. It helps the vagus nerve that goes all the way from the back of the brainstem down to your tailbone, and it intersects with a lot of the organs in your body. So whenever you can reset that vagus nerve, it tells your body, we don't have to go into fight or flight. It's all good. We got this. We're good. We're having fun here. A little goofy, grabbing my earlobes and taking a few deep squats, but hey, it works. So yeah, I want to pick your brain big time because you've got so many great tips and tools and techniques. Could you share just 1 or 2 little baby steps that we could take right now that would help us get on the right track?
Oh gosh, so many.
I know. It's hard to pick only 2.
One of my favorites is just say no.
Tell
and
me more.
I paused after that. You notice I paused.
Tell me more.
Without explaining, defending, justifying, feeling guilty, you just say no. And maybe you smile. No is a complete sentence. It is okay. You do not have to explain it. You do not have to justify it. And it just empowers you to put yourself first, I love the phrase, it's okay to say no to something good to make room for something even better. And sometimes we feel like we should do things, or our competitors are doing this, or I feel somebody invited me to do this, so I should go do it, or somebody gave me this gift, so I should keep it in my house, in my cabinet, taking up space because they gave it to me. It's okay to accept something, receive it, and then release it and let it go. And that goes for your time, that goes for physical items, that goes for so many different things. So, which I kind of went off on a tangent there. That wasn't really related to saying no.
No, but it's true. It's true, because I love the Marie Kondo thing, that the Art of Tidying Up, I think was the name of her book, where you acknowledge the item and how it served you and how it enriched your life in some way. You thank it, and then you move it on where others can enjoy it and be enriched as well. Sending things on with love and blessings is always a good practice. So what's something else besides saying no? What's something else that we could do?
Well, we already talked about self-care and finding your own form of self-care. I also really, really, really encourage my clients to slow down. We feel like we need to get stuff done. We feel like we don't have time. But in reality, slowing down can accelerate your growth. When you let go of the hustle, when you let go of the guilt, when you let go of the should do's and even some of the must do's, when you set boundaries, when you let all of those things go and stop trying to meet all of those external needs, you slow down, bring it inside. That is what's going to accelerate things. So it's very counterintuitive, but say no and slow down.
And it's so interesting that you say that, because the Marines have an expression, slow is fast. Because when you're trying to get something done, and it's really important that it's done right and it's done well, the last thing you want to do is rush through it and make a mistake. I read another fabulous book called The Checklist Manifesto, written by a guy who was the head of the World Health Organization. And he was trying to figure out, how do we stop a lot of the accidents, needless deaths in hospitals, and reduce infections. And he discovered that the lowly checklist, get this, just a checklist. If you have a checklist, and what works best is everybody has a checklist. You go off and do 2 or 3 things on your checklist, and then we come back together. Any problems, any issues, anything we should know about? Do you need help with anything? No? Okay, great. Go off and do 2 or 3 more things on your checklist and come back together and compare notes. The lowly checklist increases productivity by 40%. 40%. So, often we think, well, that's just a waste of time. I know what to do. I should just go ahead and get it done. Blah, 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 blah. No, take the time to make a checklist. And you know what? If you have a really small business and you don't have a lot of people to bounce ideas off of, or you're in a hurry, brainstorm with Chat GPT or one of the other AI tools that you enjoy. You can put your checklist in and say, hey, is there anything I'm missing? Is there anything else you can think of that I should include in my checklist? What are the best practices that I could incorporate? You're not alone. You're not alone.
I recently discovered that Chat GPT, that you can voice enter your life-changing. I'll be on a walk, and that's when I have all my ideas, is when I'm walking or doing something where I don't have my paper with me. And I don't like to be on my phone typing and walking. So when I found that, I was like, oh, this is life-changing. So now I just get in there and I voice record whatever my question is or whatever my thoughts are, and I say, hold on to these till I get home, and then I'm going to ask you some more questions. So I'm fascinated with that tool and resource right now.
Yeah, it's a really useful tool, and it's never going to replace you ever, because you're unique, and the way you like to do your business and the way you show up for your clients is totally different. An AI tool could never replace you and the energy that you bring and the compassion, the caring that you bring, the enthusiasm for what you do and for helping solve your clients' problems. That's completely unique. Now, MJ, we talked a little bit before we got started, and you have an absolutely amazing, generous gift that you offered everybody. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes. So on my website, I have a Burnout Prevention Blueprint, which is a free download. It's just a very simple, very actionable guide, because I do not want to overwhelm anyone anymore by giving them 87 different things to do. So very simple, very actionable. But it helps you to spot burnout early, helps you to find some clarity and create some more space for what matters to you. That can be downloaded at mjmitchell.com/abundance, just for your audience, because I love you and your energy so much. And I want to play with your audience. I actually am adding a complimentary strategy call for anyone from your audience who uses that link to download the guide. I'm going to give them a 20-minute call. There's no pitch, there's no sales, just a space, an opportunity for them to step away for a few minutes and to talk about what's going on, what's holding you back, what's tripping you up, what's making you feel overwhelmed. And I will help find some clarity and give a couple of action steps to move forward. Again, no obligation, no sales, no pitch. Because of you and your energy, I know your audience is going to have the same. And I want to play with them. I want them to play with me. And I want to provide that space. That's my way of sharing and giving back. And if somebody wants to work with me, that's great. We can talk about that too. But it's
awesome. MJ, that's so sweet. That's so wonderful. I really, really appreciate that, because everybody hits this wall. We all do. If you haven't hit a wall, you're not growing. If you haven't hit a wall, you're not pushing yourself. You're kind of, it's almost a sign that this is working, that and for me, I know when I hit a wall, the divine is going, this problem right here is your big growth opportunity.
Yes.
So instead of resisting it, dig into it. It's like you're building sandcastles. Here you're looking at the sand and going, why is this garbage in my way? Build sandcastles, honey. We expect you to play with this. It's going to really change your life. Now, speaking of changing lives, we are so grateful for you coming here and sharing your expertise, sharing your wisdom with us, MJ. We love to turn the tables on our guests because we know that when we give is when we truly receive the most. So, what is something that we can do to support you?
Absolutely. I appreciate that. So I am trying to grow this business and to help more women make the transition from hustle to harmony so that they can do more of what they love without sacrificing their well-being. So if you know any women's business groups, any other podcasters, any events or conferences who are looking for an engaging speaker on burnout prevention or recovery, usually we try to get them at prevention, but burnout prevention or recovery, I would love to be connected with them just to have a conversation and see if I might be able to be a resource for them and their clients and audience.
Perfect. We will be on the lookout. And I'm going to up the ante a little bit and ask everybody to share that free gift with everybody you know. Because honestly, the tips and tools that MJ is providing in her free gift are invaluable. And your friends are going to appreciate you for sharing a resource like that that can really help them avoid those kinds of challenges and issues. So, for sure, we're definitely going to do that. MJ, I can't thank you enough. This has really been a fabulous conversation. And I've got quite a dilemma because I have several pages of notes and I have to pick just one thing for the Activate Abundance segment. I'm kind of, yeah, you're making life a little difficult here.
I don't know if you saw, but there were 3 different times where I was like, where's my paper? Where's my pen? And then it was like, oh, we're recording, so we're good. But I was like looking for my paper and pen because I wanted to take notes. So I'm the same boat.
Well, I have paper and pen, and I've been taking notes the whole time because everything you shared with us was really, really helpful, really valuable. I can't thank you enough for being here today, MJ. So grateful for you. All right, everybody, stick around because we're going to activate abundance in just a minute. Wow, that was really powerful. But before we dive in to Activate Abundance, I would love your support. Please share this episode, leave a comment, and subscribe so we can spread abundance far and wide. And if you're ready to go deeper, I'd be honored to be your coach through the Inner Power Protocol, helping you move from spiritual overwhelm to embodied power so you live the life your soul designed you to be. Let's make this your moment. Don't you love MJ? MJ Mitchell, she's so insightful. She's so caring. She's so loving. And she's got a wealth of experience. Like she said, she's had lots of different businesses over the years, and she knows the kinds of struggles and challenges that entrepreneurs are dealing with. Step 1 to activate abundance is always gratitude. Gratitude is the acorn of your abundance tree. It is the ignition switch to higher consciousness. Everything you want, everything you crave in your life starts with gratitude. And I'm incredibly grateful to MJ for all the brilliance she shared with us. Step 2 is to acknowledge something you heard that was an aha for you. And I loved her definition of self-care. She's like, it's not a tub. It's not taking a tub. It's not a glass of wine. No, 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 no. It's rest, recovery, and fun. Rest, recovery, and fun. I was like, whoa, I like that definition. That makes a lot of sense. And it was so unique. I have not heard that before. I love it. So step 1 is gratitude. Step 2 is acknowledge something you heard that was an aha for you. Step 3 is appreciate the difference it can make in your life. Because how often do we forget to just take a moment to relax? Even if it's 3 deep breaths, I am consciousness. You know, that little exercise connects your energy to mine and MJ's, not just for today, not just for this moment, but for lifetimes. We are permanently and forever connected. So when you need to just chill and relax and feel centered and grounded and safe, you know, you can just think of MJ and think of me, think of the different exercises that we did today that she recommended, and make a point of taking time for rest, recovery, and fun. I collect silly dad jokes because fun is like a mandate for me. Okay, step one, gratitude. Step two, acknowledge something you heard that was an aha for you. Step three, appreciate the difference it can make in your life. Step four, activate it. This is where we take something that's a concept and turn it into a tangible physical reality so it changes your life. I've found three different ways that you can make something activate as abundance. The first way I call schedule time to get it done, and I count journaling here. Journaling is incredibly powerful because there's all this stuff going through your head, all the coulda, woulda, shouldas, all the things that I got to get done, and you can't keep track of it all. Your brain keeps pinging you because it doesn't want you to forget, especially in the middle of the night. I always have a pad, a pen next to me because if my brain goes off and it won't shut up, often it's a download that's coming through and the divine wants me to get up and take some notes. Time to take dictation, sweetie. And so take a moment, schedule time every day to journal, get down all your thoughts, because then you can have a more objective perspective on what's going on. And you can look at all the things on your list and you can see, I can delegate this, I can get rid of that. Is this really a priority? Who can grow by giving this to them as a project? And sometimes it's your client that needs to grow because they're trying to avoid taking responsibility for themselves. And part of your job is to help them facilitate their awareness that this is something they get to do so they can enrich their own life. So the first way to activate abundance is schedule time to get it done, like journaling. The second way is create a physical trigger, like crossing your fingers or tugging on your earlobe as a reminder, I take time for myself to rest, relax, and have fun. If you need a silly dad joke, hit me up. I got lots of them. They'll make you laugh and they're stupid. They're just ridiculously stupid. So it's something you can share with your clients. And when you guys lighten up about some project that you're working on, I read a book recently called Spiritual Intelligence by Dawson Church, and he always takes a moment at the beginning of his business meetings, especially board meetings, to get everybody on the same wavelength with an intention. The same way I do at the beginning of my show. Why? Because it gets everybody in flow. It gets everybody on the same page, everybody working in concert, and they find that they're much more productive and they get a lot more done. So take the time to create a physical trigger to remind yourself rest, recovery, and fun. I deserve rest, recovery, and fun, and I'm going to make this fun, not just for me, but for everybody else too, right? Just by showing up, having a good time. You want to make people laugh? Just start laughing. They won't know why, but they'll start chuckling too. And then they'll feel really good about themselves. The third way to activate abundance is to work with what I call an abundance buddy. Most people call them accountability buddies, but I'm all about abundance. So, this is somebody who loves you, who knows you, who gets you. Maybe it's a coach. Maybe you're working with MJ. This is somebody who understands the challenges you have and the old habits that you tend to drift back into. And you make a statement. You declare, this is how I choose to show up. I am making my rest, my recovery, and fun a priority in my life every single day. And the way I'm going to do that is with these three practices. So every time you see me starting to get stressed out or wrapped around the axle or overwhelmed in any way, remind me I've got three ways that I can rest, recover, and have fun so that I'm back in the game. I'm full energy. I fill my pitcher so I can fill everyone else's cup. And my pitcher is continually filled. All right, step one, gratitude. Step two, acknowledge something you heard that was an aha for you. Step three, appreciate the difference it can make in your life. Step four, activate it. Three different ways. Schedule time to get it done. Put a physical trigger. Work with an abundance buddy. And the fifth thing to do, celebrate your progress. This is a joyous unfolding of your life. There isn't really a quote wrong way to do this. This is how you try something and you see how well it works for you. And you don't just automatically assume that it's not going to work. Because when you did those 3 deep breaths, you probably thought, wow, that's really hokey. I mean, seriously, I am consciousness? Really? Well, I got to tell you, I've been doing this now for months, and it's like an instant reset, an instant centering and grounding that puts you into infinite divine grace and a feeling of such love and gratitude. And it's all yours anytime you want it. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'll see you next time for the Abundance Journey. Thank you for joining me for the Abundance Journey. If today's episode inspired you, I would love to hear from you. Go to theabundancejourney.com/contact and click on the Share My Thoughts button to tell me what you loved or what you learned from today's episode. And when you do, you'll receive the Spiritual Alignment and Conscious Action Jumpstart as my free gift. Remember, abundance shared is abundance amplified, and it always reflects back to you. So be sure to share the Abundance Journey show with your friends. In fact, there are lots of great things you can share in today's show notes, like the free gift link, key insights, quotable comments, step-by-step processes, and lots more. The show notes link is in the episode description. Until next time, I'm Elaine Starling, the Abundance Ambassador, reminding you that every moment is a chance to create the abundant life your soul designed you to live.